Hi, and welcome to another video in Python programming language. In the previous video, we talked about built-in functions. In this video, we will talk about list comprehension. Let's look at some examples. Let us first define a list of elements. Let's call it A equals a list that contains number of elements. So here's A. Let's say we want to create another list that includes only the even numbers in this list. We want to do this in an automatic way. Now obviously we can create a for loop for element in list A. Do the following. We test the remainder of dividing by 2, and then we create a list and append to the list. We start with an empty list, and if the remainder of the division is 0, append to the list until we run through the entire set. We want to do this in a more natural way, and that's what we call list comprehension. It's supported in Python. So let's say you create another list. Let's call it the even elements, and here's how we do it. Start a list, and then x for x in A, and then we want to put a conditional statement to test for the remainder of the division. So we want to collect all the elements that are in A that satisfy a certain condition if x mod 2 is equal to 0. That means it's an even number. Now let's run the code here. Let's print even, and notice it collected all the even numbers. Just a slick, nice way of creating a list again internally without having to write the entire for a for loop. Here's another example. Let's say we want to square the elements in the list A. Let's say squares x list of x squared for x in A. Here, let's print squares. And again, we see each element being squared: 2 squared, 3 squared, 8 squared, and so on. Let's say you want to square all the odd numbers. Let's say odd squares. A list x squared for x in A, that will be every element squared, but we want to add a conditional statement here if x mod 2 is not equal to 0, meaning it's an odd number. Let's try it and see what we get. Odd squares. And we see it's squaring 3, 9, basically only the odd numbers. This is list comprehension in Python. We could do pretty much the same thing with sets and dictionaries. Let's take an example. Let's create a set that includes the squares of all the numbers from, let's say, 0 to 9. Let's call it S equals and then set, and then we're going to put command pretty much the same thing as we did before. X squared for x and, let's say, range, and then we want to create again from 0 to 9, so range 10, and then hit enter, print S. We get the squares of the elements starting from 0 all the way to 9. We can see it behaved pretty much the same thing as it did with lists. Let's say instead we want to create the set of squares in a way that it pairs as tuples. So each element in the set would be a tuple of 2 elements, the number, comma, its square. Let's see how we do that. First of all, here's our variable, our list A. All right, let's define the variable S. I'm going to overwrite my previous set. So we're going to define it as tuples, like that. X, comma, then let's say x squared for x in A. And let's see what we get. Print S, we get a set of tuples where each element is a tuple of element square, element and its square, and so on. Let's try now to do it as a dictionary where the key is the number and the value is the square of that number. D equals, so x is the key, that's the value of the number for x in A. We want the value to be x squared, right? Like that, and then we want to say for each x in the list A, for x in A, close, and then print D. And here's the dictionary. Again, key and value. As you remember when we covered the dictionaries, they're composed of keys and values. The key is the number in A, and the value of that key is the number square, or whatever formula you wish to put in here. This is it for today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.